there were 12, count them 12, Texas high school football state championship games a couple weeks ago at AT&T Stadium. There were 12 of them spread across 4 days. Maybe you heard of it? Heard about it? From 1A Division 2 all the way up to 6A Division 1, we are going to rank them. We're going to rank the 2018 state championship games. Obviously, look, if your team won, you're going to like that game a lot more than we did. But we are, or if your team lost, then you're going to be like, why would this possibly be as high as it is? We are ranking this as a neutral observer as far as I think the games that we are going to remember most and the games that, as far as an excitement level is concerned, as people without a dog in the hunt, I would say this was the watchability rankings, if that makes sense. This is the watchability rankings for the 12 FBS, or rather the 12 state championship games at AT&T Stadium. Let's start. Number 12 is the first game.
Yeah.
1A Division 2, Strawn 48, Follett 0. And this one felt like it was over from the first play. If you remember, Strawn got the kickoff, and the first play they threw the ball for a touchdown.
Yep.
A team that doesn't throw much goes and throws a touchdown pass. Strawn dominated Follett 48-0. This game ended at halftime. It was 40-0 at the end of the first quarter. It was 32-0 with 3 minutes left in the first quarter. This game really, you want to talk about a team that really came out and looked like a team on a mission. Now, I think if you talk to Andy Copley at Follett, I think he'll say we didn't play very well. They got one first down the entire game. They had a grand total of 53 total yards in that game. The Strawn defense was absolutely suffocating. The defensive MVP was Carlos Villanueva, or rather Tanner Hodgkins. He was spectacular. And Carlos Villanueva, their running back, was the offensive MVP.
They were both very good.
A dominant effort from Strawn in a kind of ho-hum manner. It seemed almost clinical, the way that Strawn was going about it. And it was very, very impressive to see Strawn's dominance. It didn't make, honestly, for a great watch off the top.
No.
And so as a result, look, Strawn fans love it, and rightly so. But our number 12 ranked team or game is Strawn 48, Follett 0, the 1A Division 2 state championship game. Let's go to number 11. Number 11 was the opener of the next day. Mason 44, New Deal 6.
Why do you hate Mason's dominance, Tepper?
Yeah, I don't know. This was
so impressive.
This was so impressive.
I mean, I think that this is that weird. It's like I agree. As a game, it probably isn't that high on the list, but I could not have fallen more in love with Mason.
It was fun
so
to watch, and the thing was, we wondered how Mason's defense was going to match up with New Deal's offense, and the bottom line was the Mason defense was arguably the dominant force in this game. They were spectacular in this game. They held New Deal to a grand total of 172 yards. New Deal is a high-flying offense, and you saw it in bursts from Jet Whitfield. Like you could see, like, oh yeah, this kid's special. But Mason, the bottom line was that their running game was outrageous. They averaged 6.6 yards per carry. They were able to throw the ball pretty effectively. I thought Otto Wofford had a really nice game. And they came out there and they dominated. And the other thing is, they looked like a team that had been there before. Like the moment did not seem too big for them. They were like, we're ready to take it to you. And they ran out to a big lead. They were up 24-6 at halftime, and then they pulled away. It was 37-6 at the end of 3. And in the end, this was all Mason. And New Deal got a touchdown early to make it 7-6, but Mason punched right back after 48 seconds and came back with the score, and it felt at that point like, okay, it's going to take something special for New Deal to come back and win this game, and it just never came. And a dominant effort from Mason, very deserving champions. By the way, almost 8,000 people at that game. Whew. Number 10, let's flash forward to Friday night. Aledo, 55 rather. Fort Bend Marshall 19. This is the surprise. I figured this was going to be a closer game. In fact, I picked Fort Bend Marshall to win this game. I think we both did.
Yeah, it was more of a sentimental pick for me. I figured Aledo would do what it did, and Aledo
did what they do.
Did what it does.
Did what they do.
Yeah.
They gave the offensive MVP to Jace McClellan, and Jace McClellan was great in this game. That said, and I think even Jace McClellan will admit this, they need to hand out 5 offensive MVPs in this game, and those 5 offensive MVPs are left tackle, left guard, center, right tackle, right guard, and right tackle.
Freaking great offensive
line. The offensive line was the dominant force in this game, and they absolutely smothered Fort Bend Marshall. The defense was really good as well. I thought the defense matched up particularly well with them running sideline to sideline, and while Fort Bend Marshall got loose a couple of times, they limited the number of times that they were out in space. They were blowing up the things in the backfield and mitigating what I thought was a speed disadvantage.
Yeah.
It was a masterful game plan from Steve Wood and company. And Aledo came out, and again, the dominant force was that big offensive line. And at that point, it became pretty obvious early. It's like, oh, nope, Marshall's getting dominated in the trenches. This one's probably over. And as a result, it was a spectacular win there for Aledo. They win their 8th state championship, 26,155 on hand for this one on Friday night. Again, a terrific win there for Aledo. They make it 8. Number 9 on the list, Mart 76, Groover 33. This was the nightcap on Wednesday night. And the reason now this is going to be obviously more of a blowout than other games.
Yeah.
The reason that I have this higher than those other games is the pure spectacle of it.
Oh my God.
Guys,
Mart's good.
Mart at halftime had run 20 plays, and 9 of them were touchdowns.
Yep.
It was absolutely spectacular to see the speed on display.
Yeah.
They jumped out. Here are the lengths. Here we go. Max, I have it pulled up.
Okay.
First of all, I mean, and here's the thing: Groover's a good team.
Yeah.
And Mart just looked like a team that I don't think Duncanville could have beaten them on this night. I mean, they were hitting on all cylinders. Here were the lengths of here are their touchdown drives, right? 2 plays 26 yards, 2 plays 64 yards, 2 plays 17 yards, 1 play 59 yards, 6 plays 58 yards. They slowed it down. 1 play 44 yards, 2 plays 7 yards, 1 play 67 yards, 3 plays 63 yards.
Jeez.
And then in the third quarter, 4 plays 61 yards. They were actively trying not to score in the second half. And
people are like, why are they passing?
Because they're bad at it.
They're bad at passing.
Because they had their
backup quarterback who's not a great passer, and that's why they were throwing to the sideline every time.
It was. And it was, again, Groover's a good team, but my goodness, Mart looked on a different level in this game. And the speed you saw from Tyreek Horn, their running back, and the defense flew around. The defense made plays in this game and got the ball back to that offense, and every time the offense touched the ball, it turned to gold. So that is number 9 on the list is Mart 76, Groover 33, Mart, the 2A Division II state champions. 7,200 people on hand for that one. Number 8, Highland Park 20. Now, by the way, those are the 4. Like, there's probably a gap here.
Yeah.
Now, every one of the rest of the games, I think.
We're pretty good at some point.
Until the top 2.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Number 8, Highland Park 27, Shadow Creek 17. This game is one of those games that I never. It felt like Highland Park got up, and then they were doing the Highland Park thing where they just kind of hold you off at arm's length. Shadow Creek had a couple of plays in this one, including a 99-yard touchdown run from Jamarian George, and I hope he won a lot of fans in this game.
Yeah,
because he's fun to watch.
Yeah,
but. Highland Park scores early, and then Shadow Creek claps back. It's like, all right, like game on. Yeah. Shadow Creek would not go away in this game. Shadow Creek was in this game until a flurry there in the middle of the third quarter, or second quarter rather. Yeah. Highland Park got a turnover, and then they turned, and then a touchdown pass from Chandler Morse to Finn Corwin, and then a field goal to extend it to 24-9, and then it just felt like the defense. Because they were getting a great pressure from defensive end Prince Dorva, they were going to be able to hold this off at arm's length. I mean, you saw what it took to score on Highland Park, which was a 99-yard touchdown run from Jamarian George. This was a very clinical, I think, Highland Park win. Yeah. A team that goes out there and they don't make mistakes and they pounce on your mistakes. Shadow Creek, give them credit. I do not think that the moment was too big for them.
No, they really handled it well.
I thought they handled it particularly well. Better than most first-time state finalists. But the bottom line was that you saw Highland Park came in and they were like, all right, we're gonna take care of our business, and if we take care of our business, we're gonna win. Yeah. It was again the word I would describe it as is clinical. And this was the Saturday morning kickoff. 28,792 on hand for this one. Number 7, La Vega 35, Liberty Hill 21. In many respects, this is the game we expected. in the sense that these were two physical, hard-hitting teams that took sledgehammers to one another. But the difference in this game, and I don't think I've talked to you about this, but the difference in this game, I thought, was Vega's ability to pass the ball.
Yeah.
First of all, they got a kickoff return.
I was going to say special teams helped too.
Special teams. Yeah. Dante Stewart had a 94-yard kickoff return to break a 7-7 tie at halftime, and that was big. But they hit a couple of big plays in that third quarter. 94-yard kickoff return, a 90-yard touchdown pass from Eric Rawls to Malachi Wright, and then a 61-yard touchdown pass from Rawls to Wright. And that blew it open. And Liberty Hill, once they got to chasing, if that game extends a little bit farther, they were starting to, they were getting a little bit of movement offensively.
They're finding some things, but the game's just not long enough when that's your offense.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And so La Vega's ability to hit a couple of home runs in this game ended up being the difference. And La Vega, what do you say about Don Hyde? His first year as the head coach and to guide them to a state championship. It was awful impressive. La Vega was as advertised, and adding that passing game and that big playability, I think put them over the top. And La Vega wins their second title in 4 years. They beat Liberty Hill 35-21 to become the 4A Division I state champions. 19,218 on hand for this one. Number 6, and this is where it starts to get tough.
Oh boy.
Number 6, Cuero 48, Pleasant Grove 28 or 40. Cuero 40,
28.
Pleasant Grove 28.
There you go.
Let's first talk about Pleasant Grove, because if you remember, they came out and they threw the first punch. Get a Bruce Garrett touchdown run, and then 2 more Bruce Garrett touchdowns runs. And with 3:44 left in the second quarter, it is 21-7 Pleasant Grove. And you start going, well, this is what Pleasant Grove do, man. This is what Pleasant Grove do. And Bruce Garrett had looked spectacular, and the running game was really starting to grind, and it was great. So give a lot of credit to them.
Yeah.
But there's a man, Max, a man named Jordan Whittington, who, and you don't want to be a prisoner of the moment.
No. But
put on one of the most remarkable state championship performances we have ever seen.
Yep. He
was dual MVP. He was offensive and defensive MVP. I don't know if he should have been defensive MVP. I'm always the guy who likes to spread that around.
I don't know. He made some freaking plays.
He made some great plays defensively.
I think he led the team in tackles.
I think that's part of it. But there was a guy who had 2 picks. Somebody had 2 picks.
I don't know. I remember one of the guys that made a play late that was really big was Kieran Grant. He made a tackle behind the line of scrimmage that basically submarined a Pleasant Grove drive late. And he's kind of an unsung hero for Cuero, their running back who's been there through everything. And as much as the night was Whittington's, it was a culmination of work that included a lot from Kieran Grant.
Jordan Whittington runs for a state record 334 yards and 5 touchdowns to guide Cuero to a victory. And, we expected a green sea of crazy people, and we got a green sea of crazy people. And when Whittington had a couple of plays where against a fast Pleasant Grove team, he just pulled away from everybody.
Yep.
And you go, whoa.
Yeah.
And, we talk so much about individual playmakers, and this is why. Because when you have guys like this who can take over a game, they can't. And give credit to Travis Reeve, by the way, for Cuero. Yeah. He obviously came in with a game plan, but then he goes, hey, you know what? Why don't we build the entire plane out of Jordan Whittington?
Yep.
Why don't you just take the snap?
A lot of coaches try to stick to a game plan in that situation, have a little too much pride about the plan coming in. If something's working, just go with it, baby.
And I'm telling you, he was that's a game that you need to go back and watch, and you realize they needed every bit of what they got from him, because Pleasant Grove was there for the fight.
Yeah.
But it was a spectacular game for Cuero's Jordan Whittington. He's the MVP. Cuero brings him the 4A Division II state championship, 40-28 in front of 12,784 people on what was that? Friday morning? That was a Friday morning kickoff. That's right. Number 5. McClain 100, Milford 70.
At first I was going to argue with you on this one, and then I just thought back to Crockett versus Smith. I mean, it's just like the haymakers, and I love haymakers.
So much
you and I love
fun.
Haymakers. So
look, and there are 6-man people. If you talk with our 6-man insider Lehman Saunders, there are 6-man people who don't love when these games happen because they're like, it makes us look stupid. Like, it makes us look like we're, like, not real football.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, if you don't like 100-70, we're not friends. Ben Crockett was unbelievable in this game.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Ben Crockett ran for 377 yards and 9 touchdowns, and then he also threw for 81 yards and 3 touchdowns. State record, 12 total touchdowns for him.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. And Tyron Smith, like, you saw it.
It was
right?
Everything ever been advertised.
It was like the 6-man equivalent of that Argyle Fairfield game a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it really was.
Or it's just haymakers back and forth. This was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
And I know that not every 6-man football fan loves when it's 100-70, but like if you're interested in bringing in the casual fan and saying, "What's this about?" You need a hook, and this was a hook.
This is a good hook.
This was fun.
Yeah.
And by the way, it was tied at one point. Let's see. It was where was it? Yes, 40-40 at the beginning. Milford scored to kick off the third quarter, and it was 40-40.
Yeah, they tightened it up at half.
And they tightened it up, but then McClain too much from them. They win their first state championship, 100-70 in front of almost 4,000 people there at AT&T Stadium. Congratulations on their first state championship. That's number 5. Number 4. Grandview and Malakoff. Grandview 35, Malakoff 21.
Yeah.
We knew there was going to be a rowdy crowd for a game we're going to talk about in a minute. Okay, we knew there was going to be a rowdy crowd.
Yeah.
This game
was good, man.
This game was everything. It was fun. It was competitive. There were home runs hit. There were mistakes made.
Yep.
There were coaching decisions made that were critical.
It was fun.
But what sets this game apart and why I have this game so high? There were 18,233 people there, and every freaking one of them was super into this game.
They were dialed in.
That game, that was one of the hottest crowds you will see at a state championship game in a long time. This game was 21-14 Grandview at halftime. Grandview ended up pulling away in the fourth quarter, including 23 seconds left. What did you think of the fourth down pop pass to Demetrius Crown?
It was great. Everything about it was great, man. They did it with gusto, man. Go Zebras.
I was super into this game. This was probably one of the most competitive games, I would say, from stem to stern. And a spectacular. But if you're not a fan of Dane Yench, who I believe was another dual MVP, then like that dude as a sophomore was unbelievable in this game. You got to for the Malakoff side. I thought Grandview did a good job of kind of bottling up that running game, and Darian Peace had a really nice game. I thought for the quarterback, but Dane Yench was spectacular. Elijah Golden is a hammer. That was fun, and it was the Zebras.
Yeah,
a lot of fun in this one. The 3A Division I state champions, the Grandview Zebras rather, in front of 18,233, 35-21. They beat Malakoff for their first state championship. Number 3. Newton 21, Canadian 16. A game that we did not think was going to be in the top 3 at halftime.
Yeah.
And I would say, as middle of the third quarter, we didn't think it was going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Newton runs out to a 21-0 lead at halftime. And
okay.
And it seemed like, okay, man, like Newton offensively, it wasn't super clicking. Canadian was actually matching up, but Canadian made a couple of critical mistakes, and Newton pounced on them.
Yep.
Kevin Watson had that interception return for a touchdown. They recovered a fumble that led to a Darwin Barlow touchdown to go up 21-0. There in about the there at the end of the first half, and you go, okay, well, boy, this feels like Newton's about to pull away.
Yeah.
Back comes Canadian, man. They get a weird safety on the on a special teams play.
Yeah.
But then Case and Cavalier kind of guides them back, just chipping away, and they're throwing for the end zone to take the lead in the final minutes. Yeah. And a spectacular game to watch because it felt like, oh my gosh, is Newton who's going to make this play?
Yeah.
Who's going to come up with this play? In the end, the Newton defense came up with one extra stop to put them over the top.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen W.T. Johnston's emotional post-game interview, I'm sure you have. It went viral everywhere. That's part of this as well.
It was our top moment from the weekend on our top 10 moments article on TexasFootball.com. So if you want to see it, go there.
This game was really fun. This game was really competitive, and Canadians' comeback made it so. But Newton pulled away. And Darwin Barlow was exceptional in this game, an offensive MVP, a defensive MVP, Kevin Watson with that pick six, which ended up being basically the deciding win, or just the difference. A spectacular game, really fun to watch, and a game we needed because after Mart took down Groover and Mason took down New Deal, we're going, oh no, we're gonna have a bunch of duds.
Yeah, and
then we got to Saturday afternoon.
Then we got to the fireworks factory. Number two. Yeah.
Longview 35, Westbrook 34. Yep. Longview wins the 6A Division II state championship. First of all, let's talk about the scene. Because the scene was special. 48,421 people on hand for this one. And everyone was, again, super into it. Yeah. A loud, rowdy crowd here for Longview and Westbrook. And I will tell you, I think there were some people out there who were thinking, oh, Longview's going to come out. Like Westbrook, they're like, what are they even doing here? They got lucky against Westlake and stuff like that. If you think that, what were you thinking when it's suddenly 28-20 at halftime Westbrook? Because Westbrook, LaRaven Eli was awesome. Yeah. Robert McGrew was awesome, and his offense was humming. Yeah. Humming along, and it also felt like, boy, Longview's going to need a stop here at some point. Where are they going to get it from?
And they waited till the last minute.
Westbrook's crowd was super into it. This was a fun game. Yeah. Haynes King, the quarterback for Longview, dropped a couple of dimes.
Oh, yeah.
There were a couple of balls he had that were unbelievable. At that moment, in that moment, to do that.
Yeah.
And when Jesse Anderson ran in for a 2-yard score with 4:42 left, that was eruption on the Longview side. And then when they got that fumble, when who was the Tyshawn Taylor, I want to say is his name. Tyshawn Taylor, who was exceptional in this game. Yep. And in my opinion, as good as Jafania Lister was, because Jafania Lister had led the team in tackles, I thought Tyshawn Taylor was excellent in this game. When he ripped that ball out at midfield as Westbrook's driving down, you go, oh my God, they're going to rip their hearts out.
It wasn't even a rip. It was like a real savvy, like swerve around and hit it out from the side.
It was a punch.
It was real smart.
And it got loose. And when they pounced on that, holy cow, guys. Yeah. And even then, you felt like this doom kind of holding over Longview because like they still have to run it out. As Coach King said, we had 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Yeah. Something like that. We had to kneel it out. Yeah. But they kneel it out, and it is party time in Gregg County.
This is the best crowd I've ever heard in a high school football game.
For the first time in 81 years, the Longview Lobos are state champions. Yeah. They win at 35-34 in an instant classic against Beaumont Westbrook. And there was no way to possibly top that. And that was the end of the weekend.
Yep.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Let me check my notes here.
Oh, there is one more. Number 1, Galena Park North Shore 40-41, Duncanville 36. This game, it's very rare, I think, for games to live up to exactly as much hype as given to it. And there was so much hype coming into this game for a number of reasons.
Yep.
You had the hot team in Houston in North Shore against the hot team in DFW in Duncanville. And they were colliding. There are prospects galore on either side. These are two big, physical, fast teams. And it's very rare for games like that to live up to the hype. Inevitably, somebody goes out there and a lot of the time, like, let's be honest, one of those teams goes out there and they lay an egg.
Sure.
Right? It happens. We got our money's worth and then some in this game.
Yeah.
And it had everything, okay? It had individual superstars. Whether you're talking about Demetrius Davis, the quarterback for North Shore, or you're talking about the quarterback for Duncanville,
Jaquinnon Jackson, who you think is a sophomore.
Who I think is a sophomore. And I'm actually not convinced that he's not a 45-year-old, 14-year NFL vet.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. You had haymakers thrown back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
Huge plays. Uh-huh. You had defensive, massive hits.
Yep.
These teams were beating the snot out of each other.
Yep. It had everything.
It had everything.
And
if it ended there,
yep.
If you remove the final 3 seconds of that game, and this game ends Duncanville 36, North Shore 35, you have an instant classic, is what you have. You have an instant classic.
Yep.
And then we got perhaps the single most remarkable play in Texas high school football history. A 45-yard Hail Mary touchdown pass from Demetrius Davis to A.J. Carter to win a title.
Yep.
The final play of the 2018 Texas high school football season was a state championship winning Hail Mary.
It was amazing.
In prime time, with everyone watching, because this game was trending nationally on Twitter, with everyone watching.
It got a huge chunk of Sports Center.
It got a big chunk of Sports Center.
Yep.
It got, it went. The play went viral.
Yep.
I think an underrated part of this is that they had to review it, because I was standing up there, and there's a GIF of me freaking out about that on Twitter.
Yeah.
But I'm standing up there with Erin Hardigan, who is of course freaking out as well.
Yeah.
And I turn to her and I go, "They're about to announce who won the state championship."
Yeah.
That never happened.
Right.
Like, the referee is about to walk out there and say who the state champion is.
Yep.
Is it Duncanville or is it North Shore?
Right.
And there was that moment of, are they going to overturn this? Was he past the line of scrimmage? Was he in bounds?
And you have that moment where you're like, there's no way he caught it.
Yes.
It's going to juggle around. There's no way.
I'm so glad you mentioned it.
And then you see the replay and you go, you have that moment all over again. And it came out with me in our recap video, which, like, 50,000 views, by the way. Like, the most viewed video we've ever done on anything on YouTube, where I just went, holy bleep.
Yeah.
Because he caught it. You'd already gone, oh, my God, he caught it once. And you have the same reaction again because you can't believe it.
No.
The review is going to ruin it.
Yes, you're
It's
exactly
going to ruin it. The review is going to ruin this moment. The ball's going to get bobbled.
And then all we're going to talk about is this call.
Yeah.
But the call was perfect. There was no doubt that it was a legal play, and there was a touchdown.
Unbelievably clear. Like, I couldn't believe how clear a touchdown
exactly.
it was.
You never see games like – there's always like, oh, did he not? No, it was perfect. It was perfect. And it was the most – I think the most amazing thing I've witnessed live in sports.
Yeah.
Is that play. And I watched Manville and Highland Park last year. Like, I would love for this to become a competition where we just one-up every single year. Be like, oh, well, you guys had an instant classic? Well, how about this? And then next year there's going to be like a 99-yard run to win a title.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
It is so spectacular in every single way that it will live in Texas high school football lore forever.
Yep.
And I am just so happy I was there. I'm just so happy I was there.
Can I share a moment from the press box?
Of course.
Or our little booth where we were? The Duncanville goes down and scores. I think there's like a minute 3 left.
1:02.
1:02 left.
Guys, Duncanville won the game.
North Shore won the game.
I know.
Well, yeah, I know.
Yeah. Won the game, basically. How many times do you see a touchdown with a minute 2 and you go, wow, they did it?
But this is why this story's great, because Ish turns to me and he's like, and I'm like, they got plenty of time. They got this.
62 seconds.
I'm sitting there going, they got this. They got this.
Uh-huh.
Everything happens. Oh, my God. What? You react 3 times to them winning the game. Holy crap. Blah, 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 blah. Everything starts to calm down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Then I turn to Ishmael and I go, hey, Ish. Told you.
I was at the set because we had to do High School Scoreboard Live after that. And obviously there was a crowd of people there, and they're all watching me freak out in real time. And then afterwards, I'm still freaking out, and they're talking about it, and they're like, dude, people are like, dude, how about that? And I turn to one of them and I go, well, the most important thing is that I picked North Shore, so I was right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's a singular moment in Texas high school football history that will live forever. And what's great is that it's not a singular moment in an otherwise dull game. Like, people mention all the time that Plano East John Tyler game, which had the crazy onside kicks, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Guys, most of that game was pretty boring. Most of that game was John Tyler just beating the tar out of people.
It was a crazy finish.
It was a crazy finish, right?
Yeah.
This game, if you watch it from start to finish, is an unbelievable football game if you remove the final play.
Yeah.
To add that on makes it a wonder. It is a wonder, and I am privileged to have been there.
Yeah, it was great. And Corey Hogue says right after that catch, Tepper looked at me and said, "I don't know what to do with my hands."
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah. The other thing about the review, this came up afterwards, and Lehman brought it up, and this was like a mini controversy that he had crossed the line of scrimmage. It wasn't even close.
No.
There's a good half yard.
I don't think he might have had like a foot on the line, but remember, you have to be completely over the line. Every part of you. It was not close.
It was not close. You could see on the replay pretty easily, but that was the thing afterwards. It's like, oh, clearly he must have been over the line, and they were too focused on the catch. It wasn't. No, he was behind the line. The whole thing was just crazy. It was all legal and
guys.
insane.
It was, and the thing was, for a Hail Mary,
yeah,
that was a dime.
Yeah,
that was on the. That's exactly where it needed to be.
Yeah.
It was a perfect throw.
Yeah.
How many quarterbacks throw that out of the back of the end zone? How many quarterbacks throw that out of bounds?
Yeah, or don't get it quite far enough.
Or get it, it lands the 3-yard line.
Yeah.
Every day until August, I'm going to say, oh, my God, the final play of the season was a Hail Mary to win a state championship.
It was pretty great.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
It's been 10 days. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
There you go. Those are the rankings. What a weekend, and what a spectacle. And if you don't like Texas high school football now, we can't be friends.